Welcome to Bruce Hurwitz Presents Meet the Experts. I'm your host, Bruce Hurwitz of Hurwitz Strategic Staffing. I hope you will consider us for all your staffing, career counseling, and speech writing needs. You can find us on the web at hsstaffing.com. I am delighted to be joined today by Aimee Tariq, and our topic is panic germs and the truth inside our mouths. Meet the Experts is sponsored by P&K CPAs. P&K is a full-service accounting firm. They provide accounting and consulting services to businesses ranging from startups to small and mid-cap companies to nonprofits, as well as high net worth individuals. Contact them today for a free consultation at pk-cpas.com or call them at 973-882-8810. They will be happy to be of service. Aimee, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bruce. I'm so happy to be here today.
Actually, you've been on before. I just don't remember if it was a video podcast or the audio podcast.
It was audio.
So it's nice to finally be able to see you and speak with you at the same time.
I love it.
Take a minute or two and introduce yourself to our viewers.
Excellent. So my name's Aimee Tariq. I am recently a Wall Street Journal bestseller. I'm very excited about that. I've written 2 bestsellers so far, and I work with the doctor who created the word holistic and the whole holistic movement. And I'm also working with the biological dentist who's president of the American Dentistry Board. And we just have so much information we'd love to share.
Well, I'm glad and honored that you decided to share it with us. And I want to go back to the screen I showed at the very beginning, because I'm not sure if I read this correctly. Is this panic, exclamation mark, stop, germs, or is it panic germs?
It's exclamation mark, yes. But I just say panic, germs, and the truth inside our mouths, but yes.
Okay. So we should be panicking about the germs inside our mouths. There's no such thing as a panic germ.
Right.
Okay. No, because I wasn't sure how to read it. All right. Now, you were kind enough to prepare a few slides for us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was once a survey taken years ago that asked the question, what is the dirtiest thing in a hotel room? And by dirty, the intent was had the most germs.
Right.
And the answer was, do you know?
Was it our mouths?
No.
Okay, so
it was about the room. It was, you know,
was it a remote?
Exactly. The television.
They always forget to clean the remotes.
That's it. That's exactly right. And inside your house, what's the dirtiest thing?
I bet it's our phones.
No.
Our keyboards?
No. It actually, it may today be the phones, because I don't remember when I saw this. But at the time, it was the kitchen sponge.
Ew.
That's used to clean the countertop and what have you.
Yes, people would forget to replace that. I don't, but other people do.
I have this theory that if you take the frying pan off of the stove and it's burning hot,
and you clean it right away
on the sponge, you should kill. That doesn't mean you don't change the sponge every so often, yes. But that should take care of something. Now,
sure.
Not to make this too gross a show, you've got here some interesting points. We've got 37 trillion cells in our bodies. There are 100, let's say for sake of argument, almost 10 times the number of microorganisms. And our microbiome, define that for us.
So the microbiome is basically what encompasses all of these microorganisms. Okay. So, yes.
So that's unique as our fingerprint. So we have theoretically only one of those.
Yes.
But we're talking about, let's move on to germs and germs in our mouths.
Right.
Now, you turn on the television, says if you use this mouthwash, it will kill 99.9% of the germs in your mouth, in addition to brushing your teeth. So what's the problem?
The problem is that it does exactly that. And we actually, just like whenever we take an antibiotic and it kills the bad and the good bacteria in our guts, we don't want to be doing the same thing all the time to our mouths. So instead of killing all the good bacteria in our mouth along with the bad, it's better that we keep the good bacteria so that it stays in a healthy balance.
Okay, so what is, I'm going to get rid of this, what is a good germ?
A good germ is basically, well, it's easier to answer what is a bad germ. So a bad germ can only really succeed in overthrowing the system if there's not a healthy balance in the mouth. For example, we used to think that everybody who gets a bad germ will get that illness. Like everybody who's in contact with strep or colds or whatever will get that illness, but that's not the case. That's why so many doctors don't get sick working with all of these sick patients. Because whenever you're introduced to a pathogen, if your immune system is up, if you have a correct microbial balance within your mouth, within your whole microbiome and your gut, then you can have that pathogen and not be sick.
Understood.
Yes, and so the key is making sure that we're, our good and our bad germs are all balanced instead of wiping everything out. Because when you wipe everything out, that's whenever you become a real target for these dangerous bacteria.
Okay, so the key is, and I think this is your third slide, is the balance.
Yes.
Now, I don't remember if I said at the beginning, but your mouth is the most, is the dirtiest part of your body.
Yes.
All right. So, explain these points to us.
Absolutely. So it's really interesting. I like to call the mouth sort of like the mirror of our body because it can tell us just about everything about our health. When a dentist looks inside our mouths, he could potentially see what vitamin deficiencies we have, if we're predisposed to cardiovascular disease or even thyroid issues or high blood pressure, all of those things, they all leave signs within the mouth because the teeth in our mouths and everything in our mouth is connected to our central nervous system. And so it's quickly able to show these signs. And also, it's sort of like the first gut. And so we now recognize in science that the stomach, the gut is super important, and the bacteria in our gut is super important. That's why, doctors recommend yogurt, probiotics, and all of these things for a healthy gut balance. And so we now recognize that the mouth is the same way. The bacteria in our mouth is super important, and it's the first thing that our food touches when it gets in our body. And so it starts breaking down within our mouth. And how healthy our mouth is affects everything from our mood to if we're going to be able to get over like illnesses, or even if we have a chronic illness, that'll show up in our mouth too. It'll affect our hormones. It'll affect everything, just like the gut affects everything.
Now, I am a health food nut.
Oh, yes.
All right. I believe you should eat vegetables. For example, I like potato chips.
I do
Beans
too.
are important. Chocolate cake is made from a bean. It's all healthy food. I don't care what you say.
Together, chocolate cake and potato chips?
That's a salad. I believe beans are vegetables, so it's a vegetable salad. And of course, when you're eating your potato vegetable, if you want to add fruit, you can have some ketchup because a tomato is a fruit. So it's all very healthy. Now, if somebody like me, all right, and for the record, I do not do that, all right? If somebody, well, occasionally, once in a while, you got to live. Yeah. But when someone is obese, because they're eating the potato chips, you know, they think that the four important foods are potato chips, chocolates, peanut butter, and I don't know what else. Is there any way that they can counteract the damage that they're doing to their body other than to stop the eating of this bad food, which, let's face it, they're addicted to?
Right, right.
So how can you, if you are addicted to food that is bad for you, the potato chips, the cake, the pastries, what have you. Now, everything in moderation is fine, but I'm not talking about that.
Right.
All right. What can you do to help your body to properly, I don't know what the word is, it's not digest, but properly treat the damage that you're doing? Absolutely. To counteract the damage, other than to stopping? Is there something you can do?
Well, it's interesting because addiction is that addiction, and there's such a wide scope about it. There's so many reasons and causes for it, whether it's emotional, whether it's chemical, whether it's all of those things. And what's interesting is that I found with a lot of people who have food addictions, a lot of them are suffering from vitamin deficiencies. And sometimes whenever you get those vitamins up and you get those hormone levels balanced, then they don't resort to those foods because they're craving that rise in dopamine, that comfort feeling, or they're craving magnesium in chocolate. And so once we get those vitamins to where they're supposed to be, once we get those hormone levels to where they're supposed to be, it's amazing how a lot of cravings start naturally fading away. So that's a big thing. And then the other thing is making sure that the gut bacteria and the mouth bacteria is balanced, because there's a bacteria that can be found in the mouth that can actually promote sugar addiction, and it can promote obesity itself. So there's some people who eat perfectly, like better than I do, salads and everything perfectly, and they're still obese, and they're like, why is this happening? And they've checked their hormones, they've checked all of these different things. It's now been discovered that it can be as simple as a certain bacteria that's imbalanced inside the mouth. So that's something to be aware of as well. But yeah, with addiction, food addiction, the first thing I would definitely recommend is making sure all of your vitamins are balanced. And I'm not talking about just the very basics. I'm talking about full scope vitamins. You need a doctor who can really understand vitamins and nutrients and minerals and really get you to that full scope, because most doctors only do maybe a little basic test, but definitely get the full scope, and making sure that the vitamins that people buy aren't filled with just sugar and fillers, and they're not placebos, that they're real vitamins. And so I've seen that's worked, but it's very difficult to be healthy though and still eat that way. So eventually the only way for people to really be their best selves is to really watch what they're eating, because there is no magic pill, there's no magic cure on the outside that we can just take. So it's a journey for sure.
I once had a colleague, and we all affectionately hated her She would, and I'm not exaggerating, this is what she would have for lunch. Every day she would have a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
Oh my
And
goodness.
she had your build.
Yes, yes.
I mean, she just didn't, and everybody, especially the women, wanted to kill her because it was infuriating.
Yes,
She could eat a pint of ice cream a day and not gain an ounce. Everybody else, we would have had to widen the doors.
yes.
How much does your metabolism impact the good germs and the bad germs?
That's a wonderful question. And yeah, you know, there are people like that. For example, my dad and I, we are both like that. We can literally eat whatever we want and we will look the same. My dad has a terrible diet, has had it his whole life. He should be dead.
Ooh.
Terrible diet, the worst you can imagine. And, you know,
Are you going to share the link of with him?
he says this all the time. The doctors always tell him, "How are you alive?" The worst.
I suggest you speak with his attorney first and see if the will is set, and then show him this.
So funny. And so what's interesting is that, yeah, definitely there are people who can just eat whatever they want, but it shows up in different ways, whether it's mood, whether it's in just different ways. And so whereas I could have maybe like well, I really could eat terribly every day and I wouldn't gain weight, but I would feel it. I would see it in my hormone levels. I would see it in different ways. And so it might not be obvious whenever people are eating that way, but it shows up in other less obvious ways. So it's still best to eat properly and feel great. But metabolism, I think there's so many things that affects metabolism, from hormones to vitamin levels to genetics to environment to how often we exercise and move about, to so many different things. And so it's difficult to process, and a lot of people could be made to have a fast metabolism, because if the ATP in our cells are producing as they should.
You committed a sin on this show. No. The sin of acronym. What is ADP or ATP?
Oh, it's basically like the powerhouse of the cell that gets all of the oxygen and the metabolism going. So if we have that really strong, then our metabolism is good. Our metabolism is great, and there's a lot of ways to make that happen. It's by ensuring that we have the right amount of sleep. My dad and I sleep a lot, so maybe that is what it is. The right amount of sleep, and making sure that our vitamins are at a good level so that they can be producing that oxygen within our cells, so that it keeps oh my goodness, so that it keeps going strong. And those are the main things. She wants to be on the show.
Look, you're the parent. You're the parent. She's a minor. If you give permission, she can come on the show. It has never happened before.
All right, I will get her. She's right here. She brought me a little toy.
Okay.
Show it.
All right.
Come here.
This is a first.
This is what she brought me.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I was expecting a baby. This is a cat. No, that doesn't. I'm not doing cat videos. Forget about cat videos. If it was a dog, fine. Cats, no. That's where I draw the line. No. I heard music, and I figured a child turned on a radio or something, and you showed me a cat. No. And now I forgot what I was going to ask you. But we've been going for a half an hour.
Yeah.
Is there anything first that you'd like to say to your father in order to save your inheritance? And second, is there any question that you wish I had asked you that I did not?
For the first one, he says it himself. He doesn't know how he survives with how he eats. It's a mystery. And the second one, I think you asked wonderful, detailed questions, so I loved it.
Oh, well, thank you. That I did not expect. I appreciate that. And I'm delighted you came on the show, even if you are a cat lover. And here's your contact information. Is there anything, this is the best way to get in touch?
Yes, it's perfect.
Everything is at Aimee Tariq. You are consistent across the board.
Yes, I try to make it simple. My name is spelled a little weird. It's AIMEETARIQ. And yes, that's it.
Well, Aimee, thank you so much for coming on. I greatly appreciate it. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
That, I am a 3-time Amazon best-selling author, including 1 international. I think they were all #1s, and it means next to nothing.
Oh.
Being a Wall Street Journal best-selling author means something.
Oh.
So I congratulate you on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm Bruce Hurwitz. Thank you for watching. And as always, please keep focused on success.